All right, we're here to cover the topic of your pipeline. And, we're in sales, right? So having a sales pipeline becomes critical to make sure that it's really a tool for your business to use consistently. And my argument today is going to be that you have to use this tool consistently in order to have an effective and successful business. So what a pipeline is, what it becomes for your business is essentially an organizational tool for all the potential opportunities that you have for your business. And at least, for most of us here, we're talking about real estate agent, sales, business, being a realtor, however you define it as, right? So, the potential opportunities for you to transact with in real estate, buy, sell, invest, rent, referral, commercial, whatever it is. But having a tool that keeps all of that organized and ranked is a topic that we're going to get into in depth in terms of how to rank your pipeline and really therefore organize. But just this organizational tool that keeps all the opportunities that you have, all the leads that you have, all the potential income that you have for your business in a central place that you're then, using to really move your business forward from there. Because a good pipeline will really end up being a great predictor for the short term and long term results of your business. Because you're going to be able to use this tool in a manner to where it's like, okay, everything that I have potential to convert into income and revenue for my business is sitting right here in front of me in this tool. So there becomes a notion of making sure that you're, acting in a manner to where that's a process of getting them into your pipeline. Otherwise, that opportunity in theory really doesn't exist. At least that's how you can grow the mindset of how to use this tool for your business. Let me paint a picture of like, okay, not having a pipeline and running a sales business without it, things are going to slip through the cracks. I don't care how good your memory is, things are going to slip through the cracks. I'll tie in this, what I refer to as the system side of the business. And to have a system that tells you what you need to do and when, or who you need to contact and when, having that too, will result in things not slipping through the cracks, opportunities not slipping through the cracks, income lost. So it becomes a critical element of your business. I keep referring to it as a tool because, you have to have tools and systems and processes, as a business owner. This one is arguably one of the most critical to have, a pipeline. So, again, I keep using the word opportunity, right? Any opportunity that you have to convert um, is a lead, right? Is how it starts off at. And then you turn that lead into, something more formidable to where hopefully you're working together formally by an agreement, and you've gone through a good consultation, and there's just they know exactly what they have to do in order to transact, and you've told them exactly what they have to do as a result of that, and you're both on the same page, and you're off and running to go accomplish that goal. That situation that I just described, like, first of all, you can organize your pipeline, you can define the rules to it, so to speak. however you want, right? So like when I say, that situation of say a buyer under contract and there's a good game plan in place to where you're off and running and you're both going to go reach their goals together, like commonly referred to as an A in the pipeline, right? So, you can A, B, C, one, 1, 2, 3, what, hot, cold, you know, cold, medium, hot, chicken wing style, I don't, whatever you want, or not cold, mild, medium, hot. Whatever you want to do, however you think of it, there's really no right or wrong way to set this tool up. That's kind of the beauty of it. I don't have I'm doing this on purpose. I don't have like hey, here's the pipeline that you can use, because I would challenge you to just have it be whatever makes sense for you. There's a visual aspect of this, right? To where it's like it becomes visually, when you have something that's visual and that you use consistently, it becomes a powerful, like, I don't know how to describe it, but just the way your brain operates is in a different matter when it's like right in front of you versus all in your head, right? So this tool enables that as well. But ultimately, like, I think what's most common is that you're going to have, let's just say I'm going to use ABC a lot because that's the way I think of it, right? You're going to have ABCs of potential opportunities, buyers, sellers, investors. You may have a pipeline for buyers, you may have a pipeline for sellers, you may have a pipeline for investors. Not necessarily encouraging that, but if your business is that, you know, expansive to where it's like, yeah, I got to have separate organizational tools for separate, segments of the business. Good for you. To me, I would just keep it all in one spot. And then this way it's kind of easier to manage. So with that said, just ABCs, you know, organized, and this visual concept leads to like you're able to gamify your business, right? To where like you want to turn a C into a B and a B into an A and A into a pending and a pending into a paycheck. So you really are able to play like this game for your business and have that, effort and element play out when you have an effective pipeline tool. Without it, like, yeah, I get it. You're able to like you know what's in front of you and what you have to go convert. And even if you're just the highest performance memory based agent ever, you're still going to have things slip through the cracks. So understand that, just like to define a pipeline, all of your potential opportunities for business and income organized and ranked into a visual tool that you use consistently. Questions on that so far? Depending on where your business is, like, you know, you may have like leads that are in the pipeline at all times, but like think of it as like starting off as a newer agent, like just get in the habit of getting any opportunity in there and working it up the pipeline or having to bring it back down the pipeline when necessary. But as your business grows, you're really going to get, tied into kind of further organization, right? To where, it very well could grow to a point where you have 10 A's, meaning like 10 people that you're banking on transacting with in the next 30 days is how I would define an A. Like they, as a buyer, they are out shopping this weekend. You expect them to put an offer in. As a seller, like we've got photos scheduled for next week and we're going on the market the week after or that same week. And they're, I'm meeting them. I have an appointment to sign listing paperwork, or I'm already have it signed. They're just not on the market yet. To me, that's an A. To take it further, like a seller, for example, that's yeah, we're gonna list in August. You got a great relationship. It's in the bag. they've told you they're using that it's not quite an A from timing standpoint. To me, that would be a B. But this is where it's like, I'll get into it further on in this hour here, but it can be subjective other than like you have to have a predictor for your business to where it's like these people are definitely transacting ASAP. Like I'm counting on them transacting. Like you're essentially counting on that income, and that's the A's. Like I can have everything else be subjective to your liking, how you want to do it, but I gotta have an objective part, or I gotta train on an objective part here to define your A's or however you think of that top category or hot, whatever, right? As people that are transacting right away. Todd, go ahead.
You have a category.
You're mute.
There we go. Better?
Yep.
Okay. So we've actually had to add a category in the commercial world because so many of our leads turn into dead ends just because it was a pipeline of dreams. So we've actually created a category that's an R category. We're taking those dead leads and turning them into referral business. So
Sure.
otherwise, we turn them into the who do you know categories.
Yeah.
So we see a lot of agents in the office as we're making our way between all the offices going, I've got all these people, but they aren't going to do anything. Well, great. Then who can they introduce you to?
Sure.
So we've actually got 2 pipelines.
Love it. Good organization. Good database tie-in, good activity tie-in, good, staying consistent to, see what else this leads to. But I think to the point, a pipeline, I've alluded to mostly the good so far of like using this tool to create paychecks for yourself, right? To create commissions, close deals. Well, there's also like you think you have an A, but you find out they're really not, and you got to downgrade them to a B or a C or totally out of your pipeline. That stuff happens. You have to play the game purposely to where it's like, don't fake it. Don't tell yourself a story that really isn't, it's not going to come to reality. So you have to use this tool in a manner to really, guide you into a conversion. But also not everything's going to convert. So you have to use this tool to guide you to understand like, okay, this really isn't an A right now to like get them to take the step that I need them to take. And this visual pipeline tool is going to help with that. Okay. So it's a leading indicator for your business. Okay. From the standpoint of a lagging indicator would be how many units did you close this month? That already happened. The leading indicator of like knowing how you're doing 3 months from now, 2 months from now, 6 months from now, a year from now is going to be your pipeline. Because you could have written 10 offers that are accepted and they're ready to close and they're in pending, and you had 5 closings this month already. And that's awesome. And if your pipeline doesn't support that same flow of business moving forward, meaning you've only, 10 offers accepted, 5 just closed, and you got 3 people left in your pipeline, well, guess what? You're not teed up for that same, sales trajectory for the next 3 months. Now it's scramble and let's fill this pipeline. So understand the differences between leading and lagging indicators as data and statistics for your business. Lagging indicator is stuff that's already happened. Leading indicator is what's happening right now. So close units already happened. That was business 2-3 months ago. What's in your pipeline is what's going to happen next and what's happening right now. And if you're looking at your pipeline to where it's like, man, that thing's jammed full. I got a lot to turn into a paycheck. Awesome. If you're looking at it and like, whoo, not sure where my next paycheck's going to come from. Okay, don't panic, but use this tool effectively to drive you into action. Ultimately, if you don't have a pipeline tool that you use consistently for your business, you really don't have a business. You have a guessing game. You have a, let me turn it on and go as hard as I can and get some results and, you know, just ride that roller coaster. So with that said, again, this is a foundational tool for your business. You have to have it. My coaching leadership is very flexible to where it's like I can get on board with something that you do your way, that works for you, improves results. I cannot lead anybody that is like you don't have a pipeline, you refuse to have a sales pipeline. You have to have this tool. It's non-negotiable. Take it a step further to where like you have to use it consistently, ideally every day. It should be a focal point of your business every day because you should be playing that game to where it's like, who am I going to move up today or who am I going to move down today? At minimum, I'll give some grace. It needs to have weekly usage, but I think once a week is too little. It's my personal opinion. But there needs to be having this tool and using it consistently. Ethan, fire away.
I jumped on a little bit late and I'm just curious, did you share what you're using for a pipeline tool? I know we all have Command. We probably use our own CRM. Some people use a spreadsheet. Did you show something that you're actively using that you
Good segue into the next point on my list here.
There we go.
So the tool itself, what to do. Subjective, optional, like however you think of it. Okay. I think it's extremely common to use a simple Google sheet or Excel spreadsheet. And however you want to lay that out is up to you. And it can be as little detail as possible to where it's just like A category and then names underneath it. And then B and names underneath it. And C and names underneath it. And then you use your system or your database with notes to tell you exactly where you're at with each contact there. And you have the system side of the business that tells you when you need to contact them next. Or you could have something similar, but go into as much detail as you want. Maybe name and then location they're looking in and price range they're looking in and lender that they're using and, the last step that you took with them and when and what the next step that you're going to take is. So it's really up to you how you want to organize this based on how your business is organized already, because I will caution on being like, redundant and creating too much work for yourself, right? Good pipeline tool is going to flow accordingly to where it's like something you want to use. Same with a good system tool is like something that you want to use to enable your actions and empower your actions versus this like chore and, hindrance because it's such a pain in the butt. So really beauty in the eye of the beholder here, but I think spreadsheets are extremely common. Command, if using it at a high level, just the opportunities and the appointments in there and all of that, like you can create that sort of flow using it. I could see logic using command to where if you had your tags specific to how you want to rank your pipeline, and say a pipeline is a tag, and then you have a system to where every day or every 3 days you're going to look at the A's in your pipeline and the B's in the pipeline and so on and so forth, and just see what steps you can take or what this is business to convert, right? So what do you need to do to convert it and kind of create that visual element for you? Listen, some of you are going to sit here and say, I use my whiteboard, and I love that, or a piece of paper, or a notepad, whatever. I love it. From an organizational standpoint and a visual standpoint, it checks the box. That's what I love. What I don't love about that is if your kid comes in and erases your whiteboard, or your car gets stolen and your day planner's in that, and you don't have a backup for it, now you're in a tough spot. So if you're committed to something like a whiteboard in your office, fine. I would be taking a picture of it every single time I changed it. Because when the cleaning lady comes in and thinks she's doing you a favor by erasing it, and you're screwed now. We just live in a world where, the more that's in the cloud or whatever you want to call it, technology is a beautiful thing. Take advantage of it. But I get the value of just, that day planner, that whiteboard example. I truly do. Just be careful with it, because if your life is tied to stuff like that and it's gone, you're in a bad spot. Versus you lose your phone, your computer breaks, you get a new one, you log in, and you're right back where you left off. Crazy day and age. So, questions on the tool. Like I know I breezed over that topic, but I guess the point is that don't overthink it. Do what makes sense for you organizationally. Like I use a spreadsheet. I'm just a Google Sheets type of guy. Anybody have any questions on how to create this for themselves, or how to refine what they're already doing?
Jason, can I jump in here and talk about our CRM for just a second from the
Yes.
standpoint of someone who came from another brokerage that also had a CRM that is not nearly as robust as ours?
Please.
So Command, with all of its good and all of its bad, is quintessentially heads and shoulders above anybody else's CRM. There's absolutely no reason to pay for an additional CRM when ours does all of this. I use the opportunities tab in our CRM, and it is legit just like a video game. It calculates all of my commissions. It tells me on a daily basis at a quick glance what opportunities I have and what those would amount to if I convert them. It gives me an opportunity to move them along in the practice. So it really does look like a game. It gives me a chance to make notes and make sure I'm on top of my game with those people, and create tasks. So if I need to call this person in a week or follow up in a month, I can put it in there and it will send me a reminder. I absolutely head over heels for Command, because I've seen some of the other stuff that's out there and it's awful.
Thanks for sharing. I love that.
I
Not a
just
paid
would like to,
spokesperson.
real quick, Jason, I would like to add to what Jody said there. Not only that, what Jody said, good, bad, the ugly. The cool thing is they're always updating and making it better. So, yeah, I mean, just even from when I started using it, probably 4 or 5 years ago till now, I mean, it's grown leaps and bounds. So I really like it as well, because it's a little bit more robust and it's a one-stop shop type of feel, where I'm a big spreadsheet guy myself, but transitioning over to using Command Pipeline has just helped me with everything that Jody just mentioned. Being able to add in notes right there, using the tasks to, okay, I just talked to them. Let's see, when do I want to touch them again? I'm going to set a task for that day, so then it pops up automatically.
Love it.
And you have it on your laptop, and I also have a tablet, and I also have a cell phone, and I can go into my Command app on any of those devices and see right at a quick glance right where I'm at with my opportunities. So it's in my hand no matter what device I'm using.
Yep. I love it. Not paid spokespeople. Thank you. Anybody, I'm happy to help customize something like, what you're doing right now or what you envision doing. Anybody have any questions? I'm assuming the keep it simple message I'm trying to deliver here, is holding water. if you don't have questions. But that's it. It's just organization is something that in general, that topic is like, it's up to you. I'm never going to tell somebody how to organize themselves. Like it's just like how you tick, right? I can make suggestions, but find out how you tick and organize your business appropriately. This is your business. This is your income. You're going to want to have it organized in terms of where it's coming from and when. That becomes a really powerful tool for your business to where it's like, okay, yeah, I know, if all goes well, and historically I convert at an 80% level once they get to an A in my pipeline. I got 10 A's in my pipeline right now. I can bank on eight transactions happening in the next month, 8 under contracts. So if you go that month where it's like I only had 4, it's like, man, what the hell happened there? And then you're taking a closer look and analyzing it more and like being more purposeful to convert at a higher level. Like here's something I've been talking about lately is the focus and the intention that we have to bring to a topic like lead generation to just create these opportunities it's necessary to really have to like apply yourself to focus and be driven to do that because it's hard, right? No, and it's difficult. Like I get it. I'm with you. The logic being, the flip side of that coin with like the sales side of the business, like it doesn't really, usually it's easier to motivate a salesperson or it's like, you got something in front of you that can be sold. Like you don't necessarily have to focus on that as much. Like you're just going out and doing it. It's like, yeah, I'm here to sell. I want to get that done. It's right in front of you. It's like consuming you, right? So with that said, this tool and using it pipeline effectively becomes that focus piece. Because now it's like, okay, I have these 10 A's in front of me. And what do I need to do to get them to transact, to get them to their goals? So you've got the tool set up itself now. You've got, processes in command that you've set for yourself. You've got a spreadsheet, whatever else it would be. I don't know if anybody has something that they do that they want to share that's outside of a command or a spreadsheet or a whiteboard or something notepad related. Again, whiteboard, notepad stuff, like just make sure you have a backup system. I'm not totally knocking it, but without a backup system, yeah, I'm telling you got a problem, respectfully. Okay. But whatever you're going to use, you've got that established. You're ready to like take on a process to fill it and, move them up and move them out. Meaning, you've gone through the process sales wise to where they turned into a closing for you. So process is that you're lead generating, you're communicating with your database. That's leading to opportunities of, people that you've communicated with that have identified themselves as a lead, or you have identified themselves as a potential lead. What I mean by that is like, you can identify something that might be a lead until that person you're talking to and communicating with says, yes, I'm a lead. Obviously, it's not what they're going to say. But yes, I want to move. Yes, I want to buy. Yes, I'm looking to invest. Till you get to that point, like that's a crucial step in how it relates to your pipeline. But as soon as you get any of that, and I think Todd asked like, how far out do you go? If somebody's, hey, Jimmy Jr. is graduating in 2028, and we're looking ahead to Florida after that. So summer of 2028, we're looking at, he's graduating and I'm kicking him out of the house and we're heading south. Like June 17th. The graduation party is the 16th and the house is going on the market the 17th. 2028, 3 years from now. two choices for that type of example. You either have a system that puts you in consistent communication with them so that they don't slip through the cracks, or they're going in your pipeline. And if your business is massive and you're looking at a pipeline with like just, I don't know, 300 names in it, then yeah, it may be like, okay, that 3 years out, that 5 years out type of entry, may be cumbersome. But if you're starting out and it's your first day in the business and you have that conversation on your 57th call and that's your first lead, yeah, put it in the pipeline. And you may have it be in a C category. You may have it just be labeled leads. You may go ABC and then leads. You may just go ABC and, eventually like C's turn into, okay, they're going to transact in the next 6 months or so. And then you got somebody like that who's 3 years out and they go into another category. But now this helps you move them through the sales process methodically, is the word I'll use. So let me give another example. You're talking with somebody, it's like, hey, or they call you, okay? Got a relationship, they call you today, like, hey, thanks for staying in touch all these years. Guess what? I finally need you. We're crammed in this house. It's 2 bedrooms. Family of 4, ain't cutting it. I'm sure you understand. We gotta move ASAP. And you schedule a consultation. And you get through that consultation and they're, fast forwarding through that process, right? But you leave there with like, we're going to buy in the next 3 months. Let's just say it's the next day and they got pre-approved with your lender and you have a buyer's agency agreement and there's a plan in place that they're agreeable to that you've recommended that puts you in a confident position that you're going to be able to lead them to their goals of buying in the next 3 months. So that scenario I just described, to me, that's a B. I would put them in the B category because to me, A's are like, I'm expecting to transact. I'm expecting to get them under contract immediately. Meaning in the next 30 days. That's my, I like to be objective with that in terms of think of your pipeline as people that are A's, like you are disappointed if they do not go under contract in the next 30 days. If it's outside of that time frame, then, then they go into another category down from that. So B's may be 1 month to 3 months. B's may be 1 month to 6 months. C's are 6 months to 12 months. However you want to do it from there, I'm fine. But A's are like ready, willing, and able to meet their goals and transact and get under contract. So not only is timing in play, meaning ready, but they're able to financially and logistically. So they're approved and well qualified. And they're approved and well qualified for the home that they would want to be moving to. Or purchasing or whatever the situation is, meaning like if you have an able buyer that's approved to 200,000, but they want to buy a $400,000 home, well, they're not an A. So you can get them on board with here's what a $200,000 home looks like. And this is, these are your options right now, unless we figure something else out, soon or at a later date to get you more so the home that you want. It's like this $400,000 example. So just because you have somebody pre-approved looking to move right away or looking to transact right away, but either isn't, able to purchase what they want, for example, or isn't willing to compete in this market, unfortunately, or isn't willing to, quote unquote, play by the rules that you've established with them of what they need to do to meet their goals with you as their captain, as an aside, you have a mindset to where like you're the captain of the ship that they're a passenger on, and you're here to get them to their destination, meaning, there's no other captain of the ship. The cruise passengers don't get to, steer the ship. They're just along for the ride. So if you have somebody that's not willing to, do it your way, that's not an A either. Now, let's just say you're in that situation where they are a B or they're not they're just not an A. I mentioned the word like moving them through the pipeline and the process methodically. Now you have something to where it's like, okay, they're a B. Why are they a B? All right, what's the step I need to take to get them to be an A? And when you treat your business like that day in and day out and treat each conversation like that day in and day out, now you're making progress. Because you could be in a position where, there's a method to the madness and you're looking to make progress on a specific mission that you're on together, and you're able to use that pipeline tool to really guide you through that process and do it methodically. But essentially creating the opportunities wherever they fall at the current moment, getting them in the pipeline, and then looking to move them, up to that A position if they're not there. And ultimately, those A's need to get under contract in the next 30 days. And if they don't, and say you got an A that's been in there for 3 months, then this tool allows you to be like, what? All right. What's going on with them? Let me think about me. So now you're like, all right, I got to get them out of my pipeline. I love them. They're great people. I want to work with them forever. But like, this is business. I got to get them under contract. And then it causes you to like stop and think. And it's like, all right, what the hell can I do to get them under contract? What's the step I need to take in order for them to have this play out? And now you're thinking, and you're like, okay, we keep. I haven't really leaned into the element of increasing their deposit, and they only want to offer $2,000 deposit on a $300,000 home purchase. And we keep getting feedback on the offers that we're making that it's like, yeah, you guys are close, but there's just better terms. Well, and it's okay that you haven't like been perfect in your consultation up till this point to have that conversation where it's like, look at, you're going to have a tough time transacting with only a $2,000 deposit in this market. It's okay that you weren't perfect. Okay. It really is. But now reflecting on why they're not transacting and coming up with a reason that ultimately allows you to take a step with them. Now you're going to them like, hey, listen, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's been 90 days that we've been at this. And, when we started, like my understanding is you want to be moved in by this point, or at least close to closing, right? Nothing's changed there in terms of your motivation or your time frame. They're like, yeah, no, this is getting frustrating. What's up? You're like, okay, good. Just want to make sure I'm on the same page. Like I have a thought, and, like I just kind of reflecting on how to get you to your goals. And I think one of the glaring things that we need to talk about in terms of how to get you there is we're less competitive because you're not willing to come up from the $2,000 deposit amount yet. Talk to me about what it is that's important to you to only put $2,000 down compared to something stronger in this market, which depending on where they're looking, off script, okay? Depending on where they're looking, maybe you can get away with something low. Maybe it's not a competitive market in that specific town. Speaking to the Buffalo and Rochester markets in general, like we all know, just the show that it is right now and has been. So like, it may be like a starting point really becomes 10 grand. I know that's a big jump, but talk to me about what fears you have around that or hesitations. Put the ball in their court, wait for them to respond. They may say, yeah, no, I'm sick of this, and whatever you say, just tell me what I gotta do. If you need it to be 20 grand, I'll do it. It's like, cool, mission accomplished. Step taken, let's go. Next offer, do they write aggressively? Do they increase their deposit? They may be a valid A in your pipeline at that point. But if they have that conversation and you're like, yeah, no, it's just against my morals. I don't think, I don't want to give the seller any skin in the game. I don't want to have any liability to where if I decide to, cancel mid-transaction that I'm going to be out that 10 grand, right? Yep, it will be potentially. And like, no, I'm not willing to do that. It's like, okay, well, listen, I just want to make sure we're on the same page here. Like, I don't see a path to you being competitive in this market. So we've got to talk about alternatives now. And it may mean that, we've only got to look at listings that pass delayed negotiations, because if we're in a bidding war, you're either overcompensating and paying that much more for the house to get their attention, or you're just going to continue to lose, unfortunately. And at least that's the odds, right? The probability type of thing. So how do you feel about that? Ultimately, this methodical type of, process that I'm referring to comes down to like, what's the next step that you need to take? And when you're looking at your pipeline from like, okay, I'm going to focus on C's today, and what step do I need to take to turn them into a B? And if that leads to an A during that conversation or that process, awesome, perfect. But just to take the next step, what does that need to be? And this tool is going to help you do that, because again, you want to, you're gamifying your business if you think of it that way. You're able to get it to a point where it's like, I want to turn C's into B's and B's into A and A's into pending and pending's into closed. And if it's got to go backwards, fine. But at least I know, and now I know, like, okay, I got to replace that A that just fell into a B with another A. Now let's get into a formula that's going to tell you how many A's in your pipeline you need in order to meet your goals. I'll start this by saying that, you're probably not going to be thrilled with the results of this formula if you applied it. And that's limiting, because I'm sure there's plenty of people on this call that are, on track for their goals. Okay. But if you do this exercise and you like, it leads to an anxious moment or anything like that, like, just understand that could be the case. Understand that it's extremely common in this market. Okay. There's not many people that I do this exercise with, coaching wise, that it's like, yeah, no, that's awesome. You're on track. Keep it up. Okay. So I'll give you that context. Not that comparatively speaking does much good, but more so do this exercise to understand the gap that you have and work to close it from here. And if you're 50%, to that goal based on the gap that you have, okay, you're gonna have to take action to fill it. And that's okay. That's life, right? But here's the formula, okay? Let's say your goal is to sell 24 homes in a year. So 2 closings per month would allow you to reach that goal, right? So the first part of the formula is, how many closings per month do you need? So 2. Goal of 24 homes in a year, 2 closings per month is the math. You're going to multiply that by the number of months that it takes for an A in your pipeline to get to closing, to close. Okay? Anybody want to take a stab at what that number should be? Pick a round number. 5, 10, 3, 2. How many months does it take to get an A in your pipeline to close from the moment they become an A?
6 months.
Okay. Anybody else?
Commercial about 18 months.
Your formula is going to be way thrown off.
Yeah, no.
That's commercial world. So residential agents, feel bad for Todd.
No, don't feel bad for me.
Sorry.
We're having fun.
Anybody residentially, anybody want to take a stab at what that number could be?
I'd say like T minus 100 days.
Okay. Would you want to round down to 3 or up to 4?
I mean, a strong A, I would say would be 3 or less.
Okay.
Jason, I'm gonna say 3 as well.
Okay. If all things are held true with this concept, meaning that going back to what I said in terms of an A in your pipeline is meant to get under contract within a 30-day period, then the answer could be 3 months, meaning you've got 30 days to get them under contract. Let's just say 30 to 45 days to get them under contract, and then 45 to 60 days to close for a total of 3 months. So maybe 1 month under contract, 2 months to close, 45 days under contract, 45 days to close, 2 months to get under contract, cash deal, 1 month to close. But to me, the way I would think about this would be 3 months. Okay. So now you're doing, so what do we say? 2 times 3. I don't know why I had to use a calculator for that, but here we are. 6. Now you're going to divide it by the amount of, or the conversion percentage for the people that you're working with formally as A's that actually get to closing. So meaning 50% of the time, the people that I think are an A actually get to close. So economic model wise, it's kind of a combination of 2 numbers. It would be, the people that, so economic model of the number, the conversations you have that lead to appointments, and the appointments that lead to the people you're working with, and the people that you're working with that lead to the deals that get under contract, and those deals that get under contract that close. To rattle off the economic model quick, what this is a combination of the people you're working with that get under contract and that under contract to close conversion percentage. Anybody have a thought as to what that percentage, or want to share what they would think they would use for theirs? I would be conservative in this analytics because worst case scenario, you're conservative and you go out and meet this goal of the people that you have to have in your pipeline, and your conversion rate is higher. Like, okay, your pipeline's just that much bigger and you're going to have that much more business to do. I would be conservative to use 50%. And that's not to say like you don't convert higher, you're not capable of it, but just all things considered, and currently, I would do 50%. So 6 divided by 0.5 is 12. So if you have, now, I'm sorry, I didn't explain this to start, but this 12 represents the number of A's in your pipeline, meaning they haven't gone under contract yet, but you're planning on them to in the next 30 days. And pending deals that you have that haven't closed yet. Okay, because it keep in mind the first part of the equation is how many deals do you need to close per month too. So if you have 12 A's in your pipeline, or if you have a combination of 12 A's in your pipeline that haven't gone under contract yet and pending deals, you're on track to close two deals a month at all times. If you have that at all times, then you're on track to get your 2 a month. And to account for the fallout and to account for the timing of the process, you're going to reach that goal. I'd be willing to bet. If you have 12 pending deals and A's in your pipeline ready to transact in your pipeline at all times, you would be closing 2 deals a month. Let's do the math. Say you want to sell 60 homes a year. So 5 deals a month, right? Times 3 months, 15 divided by 0.5. You need 30 A's and pending transactions in your pipeline at all times to close 5 a month. Now you're able to use that formula and really analyze your business and really measure the gap and really know like whether the actions that you're taking based on the plan that you have are leading to results, enough results that would lead to you reaching your goal. I'll open it for discussion. That's my spiel on pipeline.
I have a question. What if you have a couple of buyers that you're working with, and obviously you want to get them under contract in 30 days, but with our low inventory and stuff like that, you know, we're getting beat out, whatnot. Do you keep them at an A, or would you drop them to a B?
Depends on the reason why you're getting beat out.
I mean, sometimes it's price, sometimes it's terms, sometimes slimy agents.
Are they willing to, you know, compete? Right? Price, terms. Listen, I get it. Right? With buyers especially, this market's tough. But why are they getting beat out? What step do you need to take in order for them to not get beat out the next time? That's the mentality.
Right. So it's kind of like go big or go home. That's actually, I think it was it Sam or Pat the other day? I mean, maybe it was Pat on one of the calls that said, you know, 9 out of 10, you know, he ranked his, I think it was a seller. I don't know if you remember that conversation, but he's like, they're a 9 out of 10 on the seller. I kind of like that for a buyer, you know, somebody that may not be willing to go all in or whatever. I mean, then you're really not ready, able, and willing. Too steadfast or nervous to compete.
Yeah. Not an A.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you'd be pre-qualified with the best lender that you feel they can work with and have $1 million pre-approval and only look to buy a $500,000 home. But those $500,000 list price homes that they want are selling for 6 and they don't want to go above 5. Not an A.
Right.
So, and you know, keep in mind what this is doing for your process sales wise. You're able to like actually process to the point where it's like, okay, this is why we're having trouble. What do I need to do next?
Hey, Jason.
Yep.
So I'm hearing a lot of things of the same thing that we've been hearing in the market for a long time. There's quote no inventory. Like our one coach told us, we didn't wake up this morning and all the houses in the market have been bulldozed. So there's opportunity. So in part of our categories that we have on the commercial side, if a client comes at us and says we need a 40,000 square foot warehouse, and that's a 40,000 square foot warehouse like a 4-bedroom 2-2 in the residential world, they're hard to find. So we have a category called Hunter, to where then my business partner Mike is out hunting for that property to find as an off-market list. Are residential agents looking to do the same thing, or are they doing the same thing? Like, for example, if Dominique is needing that 4-2 with a 3-car garage, is she contacting agents? And I'm not picking on Dominique, I'm just using names that are on the screen here. Is she contacting other agents, or are agents teaming up with people that may not have the buyers, but telling our internal KW team of 500 plus agents across the region to say, hey, Joe, I'm looking for this. if you don't have anything going on, here's your opportunity to find an off-market list.
Yeah, I think it's a great tactic.
And
We've
that's
got,
actually,
you know, we've got powerful, you know, networks here, right? So it's
but that's also
element
can
of
be
your business to build on and take advantage of. Yeah.
but that's also a category I feel in your pipeline of, instead of being an A, B, or C, it's you got somebody that's working on I won't even say a referral, but on a hunter process to find that property, and therefore you can take that, you can get them back into an A by having a co-agent find the property for you.
Yeah, I'm good with it. You know, it's all organizational preference, right? Is ultimately, you know, the topic of how to build a pipeline, what tool to use, what, you know, what methodology to establish. It's that, don't overthink it. Is step one to me. Just start and then evolve from there. And if you, you know, say for that specific of an example, if you get to a point where it's like, man, I got a lot of people that fall into this type of category, then yeah, it's probably going to be worth it to have a separate organizational category to keep it all, you know, in front of you. Anybody else got a couple minutes here? What'd you hear today? What step are you taking for your business? Well, all right then. Whatever that step is, you just spent an hour of your time when you could have been talking to people. So take this hour, digest it, and create a step for yourself to take. Go get it. Have a great weekend. Thanks for joining me. Appreciate y'all.